Welcome back to Fandom Penalty Chats. We are here for our second season opener. I know there's not really a break between episodes, but this is how you know this is second season right here. And we are discussing The Resident because it is finally back on. So we are discussing tonight, season 5, season premiere. And I think I had in my head, I think I had it built up to be a lot more than it was, but there was still a lot that happened here, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I think it was still a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think we got some answers that we thought we would get.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was so anxious during the whole episode. I'm like, how are they going to do it? What is going to happen? Oh my gosh. And it ended. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah.
I got to do this a whole nother week?
Mm-hmm.
We were doing it live, and it was just Jeanette and I were the only ones who were talking in the live. And I was a few minutes ahead of her, and I kept going, oh no, like, I'm not there yet.
I know. I was like, quit stressing me out. I don't know what's happening yet. Because I guess the app is like a minute and a half, like behind the actual live TV. And so she kept seeing it before me.
So we open with, now I didn't catch all of the conversation between Nick and Conrad on the phone because mine was glitching a lot during that.
Mm-hmm.
So does anyone know where Nick was or what she was doing? Did they say?
They don't say.
She went to a spa.
Oh, did they say?
Yeah, in the beginning, on the phone call, they said where she was going.
Yeah, he sent her to a spa.
Okay.
Oh no, Conrad sent her?
Guilty.
Oh.
He's gonna have to deal with that weight of that.
Oh, why would they do that?
She tried to call him too, and he didn't get the call. So I'm hoping
More than
that wasn't
once,
the
right?
last time.
It said missed call 2.
There was there was a couple,
Yeah.
and then she said she was going to bed. Mm-hmm.
Oh, she'd already come home.
Well, no, she wherever she is, she's at wherever
Okay.
she's staying. She said, like, she basically told him good night or whatever, like after he had missed the call, which is also going to be horrible because you missed her call, and then I don't think she's going to make it home the next day or whatever.
Oh man, did someone just say why? Amanda, did you say why would he do that? Why would you send your wife to a spa? Why would you do that?
I didn't say it.
Because he didn't know the writers. He didn't know what they were doing.
No, I was just saying, like, why? I
You know
feel like
what?
there's a lot better ways to do this.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
they're going to destroy him in multiple ways by that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting pretty stressed out over this, and it's a make-believe TV show.
I know.
Yes.
Well, I'm kind of like prepping myself. I'm not kidding you. There was another fandom of mine is NCIS, and it's funny because we actually came up in another episode, and there was a character in one of the spin-off series, and out of the blue they killed off this character. Like, he was a main character, so it was like the equivalent of like Devin, which, well,
Don't say that.
I'm not jinxing
Don't
it. It's
say
not,
that.
I'm
Don't
not
even put
jinxing
that
it.
out there.
It's not out there. It's not out there. Devin will be
Bring it-
fine.
You
Devin will
just
be-
raised Jeanette's blood pressure level by like 3,000.
No.
Stress.
Breathe in, breathe
I
out.
will quit.
Oh no. Devin will be fine. It's not Devin. It's not Devin. But it's like it was one of the main characters. And out of the blue, like no warning or anything.
Yeah.
There was like maybe one tweet that kind of hinted at like an ominous thing. And they killed his character off.
Mhm.
Like, and
Well-
it was devastating. And it was so funny because you woke up the next morning and you just watched this TV show and you followed it for all these years and you're thinking, I felt like a friend or a family member had passed away. And for weeks, like my whole family was in mourning. And we're like, this is a TV show. And then you're looking on the internet and the rest of the fandom is talking about how they're mourning like it was a friend or family member, but like it's somebody in real life. And it's so funny because it's just so like jarring. So now I'm like trying to prep myself for what this season of The Resident is going to be, because I don't want to be taken off guard like that again.
I mean, at least we have warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, me and Amanda, we're gonna be able to handle this because we watched Grey's Anatomy and they've taken so many. She and I mean, like, you all probably heard me talk about DeLuca, even though you don't watch the show. She and I were texting at the moment that he died on Grey's Anatomy, and we were both like absolutely distraught. I mean, like I literally cried.
Yeah, we were both like bawling, crying.
I was sad for like days afterwards. Like I couldn't even get through the day without thinking about it. And I was like, this is really weird.
I
should
know it was the same way too, because you went through this full mourning process and you wanted to mourn as if it was a real person, and you're thinking, this is a TV show. But yeah, I mean, it just shows the impact, that.
We just did an interview with an actor this week, and Fandom, you will, that feels weird calling you guys Fandom for our show, but viewers, listeners, you will be able to hear that episode in November. So watch out for a fun interview we do. But it's an actor, and he was talking about how, because I had said that we have to tell ourselves several times in an episode when we're analyzing them so deeply, like, but why do they do this? Well, I wonder how they grew up. Like, we have to remind viewers that we understand they're not real. We understand it's a TV show, but you still connect with them. And he was talking about how, as an actor, you have to bring a certain level of empathy in order to connect with your audience. If you don't make that connection, then your show's not gonna be the one that's gonna be watched, followed, or picked up. But that's how these followings are created. That's how these loyal watchers are made, by having a character that you can bring so much empathy to, and this character that can bring so much reality to it, that you just connect with that person, and you care whether that character lives or dies, knowing they're not real.
But that shows that they've done a successful job in their craft. I think that would probably be one of the biggest compliments you can receive, I think, in that field. That's their craft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing a good job at it.
And I think with Conrad, I think we're gonna see a whole lot of pain in him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't handle pain well.
No, and that's
I was just gonna say the only good thing that is gonna come out of this is that Matt Zerkry is gonna knock this out of the park. Like, I am confident that it is gonna be like a killer performance by him.
Yeah. Conrad doesn't handle emotion well, but Matt Zukri really, really, really digs deep into those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to say I don't care about her leaving the show, but I feel like I'm more anxious about Conrad's reaction than I am of like actually Nick leaving.
That's exactly that. Yep.
Because we already knew Nick wasn't going to be on this season.
Yeah, it's more the anxiety of I feel bad for
the damage
Conrad.
in the wake.
Having to see Conrad live through that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was just really hoping, and I've always, when I watch TV, I enjoy like the happily ever after, that kind of thing. The drama and all that's fun. Obviously, it's a huge part of it, but like, I'm okay with, things being okay. And so I was just kind of hoping that, they would just, she's going to quit her job because she's going to stay home with the baby or something like that. Or,
and she just kind of stay in the background.
Right. It's not stay in the background. I mean, look at Nina. She's not on the show anymore. They didn't kill her off, so I was just kind of hoping for something like that. And Josh was like, no, if she's leaving the show, they should have just let her die, or they should kill her off, or they should do something dramatic. And I'm like, no, why? Let them have their happily
They
ever
have to,
after.
though.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like,
what other
what?
choice they have?
Exactly. If she's gonna leave the show. And so I was like, well, I guess Josh, it looks like you're probably gonna get your wish. But I was just, I was kind of hoping, why can't they have their happily ever after and still not be a part of the show?
But the thing,
it's you can't really, happily ever after means it's over, and it's not over yet. So
and Nick, I don't think that's in her character to ever step back like that. And so
she couldn't.
I mean, the only other way to make that work would have been all of them to leave, and Matt's not going anywhere, because that would end the show.
That would end the show.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even if they were to have, because I've heard some people, and I think this is an insane theory, and I don't know how they would think it would work, but they've said, well, Nick could just run off. No, first of all, Conrad is her husband. There's not a single chance that he is ever going to let Nick just run off somewhere.
Well,
and there's no way that she would leave her baby.
No, not after she lost her own mother. I mean, she wouldn't do that to Gigi. There's no way.
Of course not.
And I mean, they went through all the trouble to create Robot Baby. They can't take it away from us now. We're kind of attached.
Yeah. Well, the
real
new
Gigi baby's cute.
Is very cute.
Also, real baby cute, but real baby also partly CGI.
I didn't think so. I thought
there were a couple moments where it looked a little bit, and I wonder if it was just a little bit of CGI to make her look. I don't know if they're trying to make her look more like, her parents or whatever. But there were a couple moments that I was like, she looks a little weird.
Could be that maybe.
And it's just the layering that they put on her face. It's like, it's still a real baby, but they had to work some CGI layering, and that's typical for a show.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, they layered it to Yoda. Yeah. Well, Baby Yoda, not a real baby.
Oh, that's true. He's not.
I don't want to break that news to you on this show, Bethany.
What?
I think it's time for you to know.
No.
but they did alter her
I meant
face
the
a little
CG
bit.
layering.
Yeah, and they've
They
done it
did,
in other. It's much better than the creepy Twilight rendering they did with Renesmee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
that was weird.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
So bad. And so, but you can tell by the layer on Baby in Twilight what that CGI looked like. There's still, if you watch closely on this one, you can see that layering still on this baby's
Mhm.
face. And I mean, it's because
I'll have to look
it's
again.
not Conrad and Nick's real baby in real life. I mean,
Yeah.
Matt and Emily did not get together and make a baby.
What?
True.
Oh,
Wait.
it's crazy.
I think Josh would have a big problem with that if that was the case, right? So,
Luckily,
Yeah.
Matt is still available, ladies. So I mean,
yes. As far as we know, I don't think anybody really knows, right?
I don't think anyone will ever know that information.
He's so
about Matt.
private. Yeah.
I love that though.
We'll just go ahead and believe that he's single and we have a chance, right?
I would like him to be who his characters are. Because I love
Mhm.
Matt Zuckery. I think he's super smart. I love listening to him talk about his roles.
Yeah.
But what I like about him is that he attacks his roles the same way we analyze it. Like
Mhm.
trying to get into the nitty gritty. And I like that. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care. I like actors. I don't care so much about their personal life because to me, they are the character. And that's why
Yeah.
I fall in love with them as the character. And then once I fall in love with their character, then I'm like, oh, hey, I like that actor.
Yeah.
Unless
I
it's
like
Dylan
him.
O'Brien, because I'm actually in love with him.
Or Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, we're in love with those people.
And I'm
not
in love with Taylor Kitsch.
throwing that out there.
Oh.
Every episode. Every
have to
single
mention.
episode.
Can't let him
Even-
forget.
Oh, so we get that phone call. And the other thing too that'll add on to his pain is she said, that's it, I'm coming back right now. And Conrad said, it's been 30 seconds
no.
or 3 minutes. You're not coming back home. Go. And she was willing to
Oh.
come back home. So it's
Yeah.
just like,
Well, and he
I
wouldn't
almost feel like
let,
they're unnecessarily twisting the knife a little bit.
they wouldn't let,
Mm-hmm.
she asked, let me talk to her. He said no, like he didn't let her speak to Gigi,
Oh, I didn't
like,
catch that.
because he was like,
Oh.
no, you'll just upset her. And then the poor kid keeps saying mama, mama over and over again. And it's just like,
Oh no.
yeah.
And then you
Break our
realize
heart
how
before you go.
I know. You realize how important the episode, because the episode title was Dada. And of course, at the end, she says Dada. And you're thinking, well, it's because she's saying mama, mama, and then Dada. So you're like, oh, how sweet. You know, it's the first episode that we get to see, you know, him in full on fatherhood and the whole 9 yards. And then you stop and realize the depth of mama, mama, Dada, and what that truly meant the whole time. And it's
Yeah.
like,
That's
Bethany,
when
you're
knowing
killing me
beforehand
over
makes
here.
it a little worse.
oh, yes.
That's
It's
the
like,
only time when knowing beforehand makes it a little bit worse.
oh, do the writers, are they just out to get us all? Or like, do they just sit there deviously? Like, oh my goodness. It's going to be a hard season.
We
Maybe
shouldn't have
part of the-
started with this one. I'm going to be depressed the whole talk now.
Oh
No,
We should have ended with
We're
this.
gonna get the pressing out of the way, and then we're gonna cure.
Okay.
no. Right. That's
What
what,
about-
it is.
What
We
about
gotta
Conrad's
go into
baby
happy
voice
times.
when he talks to Gigi?
That was
How sweet was that?
Oh, it was
I
amazing.
mean, I didn't think I could fall for him.
Yeah, Conrad in daddy mode is
Mhm.
hotter than Conrad
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
like picked her up and then swung that diaper bag over his shoulder. I
There's
was like,
something
hey,
about it. Like,
Hey.
can you tell? Like the moms over here are like, ooh, we like how we put that diaper bag on his shoulder.
hey, Daddy Conrad.
Exactly. It's
It
true.
was only carrying her in a Moby. Like that's it. There's no one else. You just trumped Tim Riggins, man.
Done.
Aw.
Some skin to skin.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
And there was another part too. Like I loved his daddy voice. I actually think that's one of the tweets that I put out when I was live tweeting. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a lot of reactions, but I think that was one that was viewed the most.
Yeah.
But when she's crying, and first of all, that nursery worker calls him down there for barely anything. Like I know that like she won't stop crying, but
No.
and maybe it's because they didn't want to like poke the baby to make it scream, which I appreciate. You're not stabbing it, but at the same time, it was like, could you have like filtered in some like you CGI'd its face? Could you have maybe filtered in some
Right.
sounds to make it seem like it was worthwhile to interrupt this hacking emergency?
Yeah.
I was
Especially-
noticing that.
But then when he picked her up, that's when they used it, and the crying intensified when he picked her up.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Yeah.
we know what's coming and we know the mother's about to die and he picks
No.
up this baby and the baby screams louder when daddy picks her up. Oh no. I just got like a vision of the next 4 months of his life. And it just,
Yeah.
oh, but he
Yeah,
knew how to
because-
calm her down though. He was competent enough
Mhm.
to know exactly what would work.
That song.
What was the song
I-
again?
I don't remember what the song was, but I just remember melting again because I was like, oh my
Uh,
gosh, here he is like holding her and like, ugh, sweet.
Can't remember what song it was right now.
I had it and stuck in my head, and I can't believe I.
I
can't
knew
remember
it when
what-
it came
I-
on.
we were
Exactly.
traumatized. We were
That's exactly
traumatized.
And we were part traumatized, part watching him
Oh.
comfort
I
a
was
baby.
swooning.
We were swooning and then traumatized after that.
Mhm.
So the other thing that happens relatively quickly in the episode is Leela and Devin
Yeah.
in the elevator. Now,
So you know that time has passed because first they were just like, oh, we're
Yeah.
interested in each other.
Yeah.
Now they're at the point where they're talking about moving in. So they just kind of jumped to that. And I think
Yeah.
it's probably because of the upcoming Devon storyline. They weren't focusing on, okay, we're going to start
Yeah.
becoming an item. They're focused on this new story.
well,
So they're
also
already
robot
an
baby,
item.
real baby. So then
Yeah,
we
because
really
she-
know time has passed.
Yes,
Well, and
exactly.
like, because I noticed Gigi, like, she tried to stand up in her playpen.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I would say at least 7 to 8 months if she's
Right.
trying to pull herself up.
Yeah.
Is what I was guessing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you can see how much the baby has aged.
Yeah. She's big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not a newborn anymore.
Definitely
But-
not a
Definitely.
robot anymore.
Just
So-
part robot.
Only half robot.
Only part. She's gonna
a
grow
little
out
bit.
of the robot phase eventually.
Eventually.
she'll,
Just a little
be,
bit.
she'll be a real boy soon.
Gigi the Pinocchio.
But I think what's interesting with Devin and Leela is that she's saying, I don't want to be that girl at work to Devin, right? When
Mhm.
they're talking about that. He's like, what do you mean? She's like, how did she word it? She said it specifically that made Devin immediately back down. Does they remember how she worded that when he asked
She
her
said,
what
I think she said, I don't want to be. And he said, what girl? And she said, the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but in the end of this episode, when Devin is found on the floor, you can't tell me she's not going to kick into girlfriend mode when she
Oh, yeah.
hears.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this
At
that
that
almost
point,
seems
she's
like
not
that was a
worried about it.
vehicle to put that relationship on display.
Mhm,
Right.
I mean, it's happened with all of them except for Nick and Conrad because they were kind of always together.
mhm.
Even when they weren't together, they were always together. But I mean, with Tasso and I mean Irving and Jessica,
Mhm.
same thing. Like it came to a breaking point, and then it was suddenly on display. I mean, yes, that was Irving's decision to no, we're gonna hold hands, we're gonna do this. But every relationship in the show has had to have something that has pushed them out, and it kind of it's a really subtle, kind of genius way to show healthcare employees and how they work together, how much of themselves they have to give to healthcare, and how much they still have to hold back personally just to do the jobs that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Because as an intern, she would absolutely be looked at differently if she was the resident. Because Devin's not a resident anymore, right? He actually is above. Or is he still a resident?
He's probably still, how many seasons are we? Because he started out season 1 and there's 5 years of residency, right?
So this would be
Typically.
his final year because I know he did a stint in family medicine NER.
Yeah.
And I
He's
thought he
probably,
moved
this
out
is
of
probably
that.
his last year as a resident.
So he's going to be full fledged soon, and she's only second year intern, I think. Is she actually an intern or is she a resident now?
Well, they're only an intern
she's
for a
a-
year and then they become a resident. I'm only going by my Grey's Anatomy knowledge, Amanda, help me out.
No, that's all I know too.
I think they're an intern for a year and then they had to do 5 years of residency and then they're attendings, unless they're doing specialties where they have to do like the fellowships and
So
stuff.
she's on her way into the program while he's on his way out of the program.
Right.
But I think that with this situation, I just think it was a really, really smart way to play it with Devin and Leela. Especially since like Devin is, he's never really been super open about his relationships, but this one he wants to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's silly. Like with Julian, it was hidden. With Priya, it wasn't hidden, but it was also not really
It wasn't.
loving, really.
Yeah, no.
No, and him and Priya were together before,
Mm-hmm.
he even started. So that
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't really count that one as like him coming out and saying he was in a relationship.
Yeah.
And also because Priya wasn't involved in the hospital at all.
Yeah.
Every other person he's been dating, I feel like, has either been a patient or Coworker.
working
Oh, that's right, the
on-
princess. I forgot about her.
That's
Mhm.
right.
It's because I didn't like her.
Nadia.
Nadia. Yeah, I wouldn't care. I went into her.
No.
She
I
wasn't
liked
good
her.
enough.
I liked her for a
Seemed like a
while. I
filler.
ended up not liking her.
She just seemed like a filler to me. Like you just knew when that character came in, it wasn't. I didn't get invested
Yes.
because it wasn't. You knew it wasn't gonna be anything permanent.
I was
Until-
still bummed because I love
Until we thought it
Julian.
was his baby.
What?
Until we thought it was his baby.
I didn't really think that was really either, but I thought it was really entertaining. My favorite part about that whole thing was Irving's reaction to it all.
Yeah.
I think so too. Like he was wish he had popcorn throughout that whole
Yes.
ordeal. I think he was like, listen, yeah.
Honestly, anytime Irving's on the screen, like I just like watching Irving, and I
Me
just like listening to
too.
Irving.
Too.
He's
Me
so
too. Me
funny.
too.
Mhm.
He's awesome.
Tiffany agrees. She's smiling. That's why she's super excited for his interview. Look. See?
I remembered the
That's-
song, by the way. It
What
was
is it?
Unchained Melody.
Oh, I did know that. Yeah, see,
That's the
What
one
song?
from Top
what it
Gun.
was the Elvis version or the Roy Orbison version?
Which
you
one's from
remember that
Top
part?
Gun? Because it felt like it was the one from Top Gun. Isn't that in Top Gun? Am I thinking of the right movie?
I don't know, but that makes it even a sadder reference.
Isn't
I
it?
was gonna say that was probably on purpose, and we didn't know.
I think it is.
That makes it even
think you're right.
sadder.
It
Because Nick is his
sounds right.
Bruce. Aww.
Oh.
We should have known the whole time.
I'm gonna spend the rest of this episode bummed out.
Can we get Kleenex as a sponsor for this
Wait till
episode?
next week.
No.
Oh.
Oh, we need to discuss that
Oh.
preview at the end. We cannot go into that now, or I'm never gonna let it go.
Okay.
We gotta hit the other
Yeah.
subjects. I'm never
Back
gonna.
to back to
Let's do that at
Devin.
the end.
So the other thing about Devin and Leela too is it's more Leela. When I thought it was super awkward, I don't remember what she drew, but it was how she like Billy and Conrad and AJ were all in the room, and she came up. She's like, "I drew a picture of it while we were there," and I just showed it to me, but I just felt like it was so weird. And I remember saying in the podcast when we were live recording, "That's what you're choosing to do right now." Like, there's so many other things you could have been doing.
Well, I think she was drawing it because remember the images disappeared before they could
Right.
like print them out.
But
And so I
I
think
don't
she
remember what she
was-
was drawing. Was she drawing something that was valid to you,
Yeah.
or was it just like
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It
she
was,
drew
yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
it was an
picture-
image.
Like she basically drew the imaging.
It was
Okay.
the imaging, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they couldn't get the imaging to come up on the computer since for the hack, so she drew it from memory.
Which is
okay?
crazy impressive.
Yeah,
So-
that's more impressive now. I don't know what I thought she drew, but I thought it was.
Not
I was like,
sure.
really?
It looked like a heart opened up.
I think
Okay.
yeah.
I thought was it the heart? I think it was the heart, and I think it was the brain. I think they were getting a scan of the heart and the brain, if I
Well, yeah,
if
'cause
I
they were
remember
doing-
correctly.
Because that's what
Yeah.
they had to operate on both of those. So probably
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was I think it was Estes imaging.
Mhm.
So I think that's a nice segue into the patients that came in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was really glad, first of
Absolutely.
all, that it wasn't AJ.
Yes.
I know for like a split second, like you knew it was kind of like over the top. That was meant to be a tease when they're like, "Isn't that the 5K that Dr. Austin is at?"
But
But
we just lost Mina. We're losing Nick. We lost Barrett. So are
I
we
know.
really gonna lose him too? Like that was
I-
where my thought was at.
I think everybody was holding our breaths for like whatever amount of 5 seconds, eternity, whatever amount of time it was, because it was like, oh my gosh, are they really going to go there? Are they really going to do this? Like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. And then he comes out of the ambulance. Okay, we're okay. We're good.
Mhm.
Like, it was meant to be a tease and it totally worked.
Yeah. And it plays in later on when he's operating on that dad in this episode. And that's another part where my episode glitched out. So I didn't hear his speech to Conrad, but I knew he was ticked. And I don't remember, was he like yelling at Conrad or was he yelling at himself? Because I missed the whole thing. It just
It
spaced
was-
out on my TV.
It was mostly because Conrad was basically saying, like, you know, you can't call it, like, think of, you know, SD or whatever. And he kind of yelled back, I am thinking of SD. He's like, I'm the one that has to tell her that she's lost her father. I don't remember all the details, but it was more, if he wasn't really yelling at Conrad, it was just more of
Emotional
he was just
outburst.
frustrated and sad.
Yeah. It was just AJ's serious talk.
Because his yelling didn't even last long. It was like a quick, and then he calmed
Yeah.
right back down. So
Right.
And I
think
know
he
because
just
later
was
on he talked
overcome.
to Conrad about how he let himself get emotionally invested in the patient.
Well, and he knew, I believe he knew the family prior to, I think that's why they were all at the 5K together. He knew
Mhm.
them prior to
Oh.
the incident. So
I
it
didn't catch
wasn't-
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was
That's
so
what
it
I
wasn't
thought.
just a patient that he met, like it was a friend of his. Like it was
Yeah.
he was friends with the family. So it was, the equivalent of like last season when Conrad brought his friend in, after the
Yeah.
incident hiking, how he got really a little overly emotional there too, because it wasn't just another patient, it was
Mhm.
somebody in his life that he was trying to save. So
Yeah.
I think that's what made it harder for Dr. Austin.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know exactly what he does with like youths or whatever, but SD is like someone he's been working with in some sort of like youth program that he's been
Okay.
doing. So he had a relationship with
I
her.
didn't catch that at all.
That's why he knew what kind of girl she was, that she actually, this happened because she was saving, well, I guess we're gonna talk about more patients. She was saving the life of that other gentleman that was about to
blind
get in
guy?
the car. Yeah, the blind guy. And so that obviously that's why she was in that situation, because she pushed him out of the way and got hit instead. So he was like, this just speaks to her character, because he already knew her and he already knew her father, saying that, this speaks to her character, that she's the type of person that would, selflessly push someone out of the way of
Yeah.
a moving vehicle, and wonder how everybody else is doing. So he already knew her. So that's why he was trying to really advocate for her and her dad.
Mhm.
It was so hard for him to let go and to call it, medically everybody was like, it's over with, but he couldn't bring himself to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a whole another layer of sadness of Conrad fighting so hard. It's like he knew, some part of him knew, because he's fighting so hard for that single dad to not die.
Yeah.
I mean, Conrad cares about his patients. Conrad fight for his patients, but he has never gone into the operating room against AJ and fought him on calling the patient on, because he trusts AJ.
Yeah.
So the fact that he went in there to fight was like, no, you can't do this. You can't. It's like he knew.
Mhm.
I mean, Matt obviously knows, but it's like Conrad knew.
It was like a foreshadowing.
Yeah. That was
He had
heartbreaking.
that moment. It was very heartbreaking. He had that moment of realizing, like, he could obviously, as a father now, be able to relate to this other father.
Yeah.
But like, as you said, he had no clue how much he would relate to him, but yet it's almost like he knew.
Yeah.
And he had that moment of realizing, at the end, like how blessed he truly was,
Ugh.
and when he went to go
He
pick
had to say it.
and he was just had that moment of realizing that his life didn't reflect this single dad, and how pleased he was that that was the case. But little did he know what was coming, but it was obviously a major foreshadow, for this character.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing too is that, like, as parents, when things happen like that, you automatically put yourself in that position of, what would I do for my kid? Or how would I feel if this, like, I can't watch Law and Order SVU anymore because it's all about things happening to kids. I can't do it, because it was making me horribly depressed and scared and sad all the time, because what if that happened to my kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this could happen to anybody. And you have to imagine there's a bit of Conrad thinking that, like, what if I were this dad? What would I want? What if this were my kid about to be left alone? And then he went down to the nursery. He's like, believe me, I know exactly how lucky I am.
Yeah.
Do
You
you?
don't say that. Have you ever done a drama before, Matt? You don't say those words out loud. You should have vetoed the script when they put it in.
Should have known. It was because
Like,
of
that would have
moment.
stopped anything happening.
I know, right? It wouldn't have.
So the other patient who comes in is the blind guy, who we knew had a purpose. Now, does anyone think that he has a purpose beyond finding him in that room? I don't know. They focused on
The
him an
blind guy?
awful
Focused
lot.
on a lot.
Oh
I-
yeah.
I
You knew
meant just for
something
that
was
one
coming.
part.
What? Amanda,
It
what'd you
might
say?
have been just for that. Go ahead.
No, I said Amanda. What did you say?
Oh, me.
Yeah, you're the only one whose name is Amanda here.
Oh, I thought somebody else was talking. Okay. I can't see everybody, guys.
Oh,
Oh, she's on her phone.
yep.
Yeah, that sucks. 'cause
I
that's
can't
how
see
I-
everybody. No, I was just saying, I think they,
If you swipe over, you might be able to do, because I did.
You can only see 4 at a time on a phone.
Oh, where's the
Oh,
next?
okay. I didn't know
I can see
that.
everybody except you, Bethany.
Oh, okay.
Poor Bethany. She
Aw.
got left out.
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
So
Aw.
what do you think the purpose of the blind guy was, Amanda?
No, I think his purpose was just leading Devin to look for him. I don't think
Yeah.
he really had any more purpose except getting trapped and then Devin looking for him and then Devin getting trapped or not getting trapped really, but
Now, why did they bring him down there?
To get a
Or images.
cast.
For cast.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
why would that nurse just leave?
Well, she
Deal with
said,
it.
I know she
that-
had a headache, but
well, the tech, she said, called in sick. And there was no one else down there. So she left to go get someone. But my theory is she's passed out somewhere too.
mhm.
The tech went
Um,
homesick.
So she never made there. What?
The tech went homesick. They didn't call in
Yeah.
sick.
They went
So
home.
everybody's
Oh.
leaving sick.
I think it's because of those fumes in that room. Whatever.
Right.
It's got to
that
be
is.
some sort of gas leak. Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you
there's
think
something
that the
leaking.
hackers had something to do with that?
I think
I-
I
yeah.
had that
thinking
feeling,
that.
but I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's
Because there
Because-
shouldn't be that kind of fumes displayed in a hospital. It shouldn't be like
No.
that. The lights that were in there looked like infrared lights, which are typically used to heat things up, and there was a fog of chemicals in there. And there is no hospital room that will have a fog of chemicals in a room.
well, no, I think something's definitely leaking in that room, like some kind of fumes or gases or something is leaking in that room, and now it's starting to get out. But I don't know. I don't think it's the hackers
Yeah.
because I feel like they've already I'm hoping they kind of already kind of finished that hacker storyline up, or do you think we'll keep seeing it?
Unless it was something they already had in place or something, and no one knew, and so it just kind of got left open. Like, I don't know.
Well, my theory is that because in one scene they show the hackers saying what was going to happen in the hospital if they didn't come up with the money. It was like there was like a missile dropping on there. If they had someone who was a part of that hospital already to set that up, then they could do like a little, maybe it was like a timed explosion sort of thing where they could let enough fumes go until something happened, and then they could be like, that was your warning.
And maybe
No,
something
if-
malfunctioned and it went off before it was supposed to, or.
But I think the vehicle there is, I think the whole point of that is, I think that could have been the hacker's idea, but once they were found out, I think that storyline is done. So now that fume vehicle becomes bringing Devin to injury, bringing Leland and Devin's relationship to light, bringing in probably a security issue of how did someone get down there and do this?
Mhm.
Because there has to be, someone had to have deliberately spilled something. I mean, even if it wasn't deliberate, I mean, something was spilled. That amount of fumes and that amount of liquid in that room it's not, so it seems intentional. I don't think that much. I mean, if people are leaving, because they just started going home sick that day.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So people are going to start I mean, there's no way that many people would be getting sick and then they'd be like, yeah, weird coincidence.
Yeah.
They would start investigating something.
Yeah,
There's some sort of white powder spread all over the sink in that room.
that's
Yep.
what I saw too. Yeah.
So I
so
think
hopefully not like anthrax or something crazy.
I think the hackers might have set
Yeah.
something in place to put up, because there was no way they were going to bomb the entire hospital. But I think that they could scare them into thinking they were going to by doing a controlled explosion in some place in the building.
Mhm.
See, I don't think it's. I don't. I'm going with my gut. You can gloat if you're right.
She will.
But I don't feel like the hackers are connected to it. I don't know. I just get this feeling.
You think it's an accident?
I think it's an accident, or I think it's something else.
Mhm.
Just coincidence it happened the same day.
What does everyone else think?
I thought it was the hackers too.
Of course you did.
I originally
Someone
thought it
who's
was the
not me.
hackers. Originally, I thought it was the hackers, but I don't think it is anymore. I think it's just setting up the next storyline for the next
See,
episode.
when they like showed us the hackers, they look like a bunch of dum-dums in a tiny
True.
apartment room. Like, it just was seeing them and seeing them caught, like I don't feel like it's connected. Something I feel like it's just seeing them, like it wasn't connected. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong.
And you know what's kind
Bethany?
of so I initially didn't make a connection between, what happened in the room and the hackers. I just thought it was some unfortunate catastrophic accident that I guess just coincidentally happened at the same time, just trying to bring in another layer, another storyline of something that is happening. But I mean, it's possible that maybe they did somehow have something in place that they were trying to do, but I think it just was like a really crazy coincidence that this was happening at the same time, because obviously the whole episode there's something going on with the blind patient. You know that it's leading to something more the whole time. You knew that her headache, the nurse's headache, was leading to something more. When she said, you know, she confirmed it when she said that they had to send someone home sick. So
Yeah.
you know that there's something happening in that area of the hospital, you know, and then of course you don't know what it is until, you know, the patient, you know, is overcome. And then, you know, that's going to lead to something else, of course, when Devin finds him. So I'm really not sure if it's connected or not. Like I said, it never occurred to me until we started talking about it right now. I just thought it was just introducing the next storyline. But it's funny because Fox, I don't know if you guys watch 911. It's also on Fox on Monday.
I do.
You do watch 911? Okay. It's an incredibly fun binge. And so the season premiere was just this past Monday, you know, the day before the resident premiere. And it's funny because it's the same network, it's Fox, and they basically have the same storyline as, you know, the ransomware attack. Is what happens is the whole episode, and they're calling it the blackout. The season is called the blackout. So instead of it like just happening in one episode, it's I guess a good chunk of the season. And I thought that's what they're going to do with the resident too. I was actually surprised that it was resolved so fast in this episode. But they're basically it's a ransomware attack. You know, it's in Los Angeles. Everything's going haywire because everything's, you know, of all the technology, everything's, you know, digital, and so that's what they're all dealing with is this ransomware attack. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, like, are they doing this? Like, they should be like, hey, this is just like that hospital in Georgia or something like that, because like it's the same network and they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that was just a coincidence.
Well, you
But
know,
it's kind of funny that, you know, both of their
Mhm.
season premieres. I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's a huge
No.
thing going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Is
Right. That is
ransomware.
very
Well, and
true.
Kit mentions, like, whenever they're getting on to her about this happening, she's like, this has happened at 200 hospitals across. So she sort of makes a comment that it's happening everywhere. So
Yeah, that's true. And it's just, if it's something that's happening in the world, you know, they're just going to attack that issue on
Yeah.
multiple of their shows. But I just thought that was kind of funny that it was just so deliberate on both
Mhm.
season premieres, that they
Yeah.
were so similar. And it's like, well, they should know that they have viewers that watch more than just one of their shows. So, you know, it just was kind of obvious. So I don't know. I was expecting the resident to kind of go into a little bit more like 911 is doing. They're definitely diving further into that attack, and it's going to be a longer storyline. So the fact that 911 is doing that, maybe eventually the resident will also follow suit, and you think it's over because it resolves so fast, but like maybe it was too good to be true. Like it was just too easy.
maybe.
And so maybe the hackers, that storyline will resurface, and just like 911, it's going to be a bigger storyline that they're dealing with this season. But I don't know, that's just speculation. So I guess we'll
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah. I should look up the writers to see if they're the same. They're not.
They're not the same writers.
This is the residents, mainly an all-woman crew,
Okay.
and Ryan Murphy is the head writer on 911, I think. But I think that the reason I thought that, because I don't think the hackers are going to be the big bad this year. I still think it's going to be Big Pharma. I really hope
Right.
it's going to be Big Pharma and it's going to be the big bad, because they set that up really nicely at the end of last season.
They did, yeah.
And I think it'd be nice to see that continue on through the series. But everything was so deliberate in this episode that the way they hyper focused on the blind guy, the way they hyper focused on that room, it just
Yeah.
feels like it's got to be more than coincidence or accidental. So if they continue it, I mean, that would be nice if every episode goes from a continuation from the last to the last and having a little bit different things happen rather than just fighting one big bad. Maybe that's how they'll set it up. I don't know. I feel like I feel like that room was to prove a point or to set a point. Like with that last hacker we had, the reason she did it was because of the medical bill thing.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
feel like there was a point to this. And to that end, why would a blind guy who's never been in there before just randomly get up and walk into a room? Like what? Well,
Yeah.
like open the door and say hello. Why do you have to walk all the way in the room?
Yeah.
I thought
I
that too,
think-
but then Devin did the same thing. He let the door close behind. Like if it were me and I smelled the gases,
Well-
I'd open the door
Yeah.
and I'd be like yelling through the door. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
let myself succumb to that either.
Well, and Devin, like you're yelling like, someone help me. Get up and go back out the
Yeah.
door and get help. Like,
Right.
don't know.
It's not like the door locks from the inside. Well, unless they said it that way. But I mean, he didn't even try.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's so heavy in that room now that immediately after he walked in there, he just started.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
because
could-
I don't think he saw a patient on the ground who ran. And I think
He's not
it's
thinking
just so
I'm gonna
heavy
get
that
help.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
definitely out at that point. But for me, to the blind guy is, why would you walk all the way into a room where you have no idea what's in that room?
Right.
You said hello. You said somebody there. You heard no response. So your thinking is, I'm just going to enter this room and keep shouting into this behind this door where no one is answering me. Like,
You think you'd go to the next room? you
yes,
know?
or stay in the hallway, man. Something where you can be seen. No one's going to see behind a closed door, dummy.
Yeah.
Right. If
I
there's
was
I'm
having
sorry,
some-
blind guy.
there.
You were written that way. It's not your fault.
Unless he was just so, because he was talking about he was in pain, unless he was just starting to get like panicky and like just not even really thinking clearly on what was going on. Like, I don't know, because I mean, I can't imagine being blind and in pain like that. No one's around. Maybe you get scared, and I think he just did something really stupid.
Would
Uh,
be.
yeah,
I mean, he
maybe
was down there
so.
by himself for how long?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know how long.
I agree, you got to get out. It was just my thinking of, why would you enter a room all the way? Why wouldn't you just poke your head like Devin did? He would open the door, look in there and shout hello and keep going.
Well,
Like,
plus because he was there, I mean, he was there Devin's whole shift, which is what, I mean, probably 12 hours. Isn't that what doctors typically do? Like they do pretty long
Yeah.
shifts like that. So he was there for a
least.
really long time.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Irving was like, just leave, see if he's there
I
in the
know.
morning.
Him and what's the other guy? Is it Dr.
Nolan?
Hogan? Is that his name? Nolan, that's what it is. He
Yeah.
was just like, meh, check on him in the morning.
Let's go get
You
a
know-
drink. He's fine.
I did notice Jessica wasn't in this episode.
She made a tweet, didn't she? That
Episode 3.
she won't be there till episode 3.
Oh,
I had a mild
Oh,
panic
cool.
attack because she posted something and Netflix responded to it. We miss you, Bestie. I'm like, what?
Let's hope she didn't go to the spa with Nick.
I know.
She's already been in a serious car accident.
I mean, they are best friends. I mean, wouldn't you send like,
you know what?
Jessica does not need another car accident.
If I
I'm
was gonna
still having
go-
PTSD from her last one.
I
Yeah.
think Irving would have mentioned it. But I mean, if I was going to go to a spa, I would have taken my friend, not just by myself.
I don't
Like,
think Irving would have mentioned it. They were in the middle of a crisis. It
maybe
didn't
not.
involve either one of them.
And Billy wasn't with her because we saw her. So
And we did not get enough of Billy this episode.
we didn't.
She had like
do
2
you all
lines.
think this is a super random thought? Okay. Do we think that like Billy will end up like helping Conrad with Gigi since she's
Yes.
Nick's best friend?
Yeah, but nothing
And Bill-
romantic is ever possible there, I don't think. But I think she'll, no, I don't think so. I think that's too close
I
to
don't
home for
think so
Conrad.
either.
I think Conrad would look away from anything that even is remotely like Nick, except for help.
Well, they'll have to get him another love interest because he's the main
yeah.
character on the show. So they'll
I
have
think
to throw one out there
definitely
pretty
I
quick.
don't know. I think at least for a long time, his love
Mhm.
interest is going to remain Nick. I mean, he didn't have a love interest for the first season, except for he had a one night stand with somebody or a couple night stand with somebody, but there was no real love interest for him.
Well, because he was after Nick.
And I think it's going to remain that way for a while, even if she's dead.
Yeah.
I think so too. They're going to have to, I mean, obviously
Fatherhood.
that's something. Yeah, they're going to focus on fatherhood. They're going to focus on his grief. And then they're going to have the storyline where he heals. And then they're going to have the storyline where he's ready, even if he knows it or not. Someone's going to walk into his life and then that's going to start.
Yeah.
And so they'll have plenty of opportunity to have all those love interest storylines.
Later.
And yeah, but later on in the show, that's not going to be something
Yeah.
immediate. I think they're even the audience is going to want to have to go through that,
No, we
time
need a
frame.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick's dad was also absent from the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was wondering how, I mean, obviously just because Emily Van Camp is not there doesn't mean that he's gone too, but I was wondering, what capacity is he still going to come around and be grandpa?
Well, he already said he doesn't know how much more he can bring to the show.
Right. That's what I was wondering because I wonder if he already knew that Emily was leaving and he may
Probably.
not be coming anymore.
may
And
have.
that's why he was saying all those things.
He will
because
be back for the
already
funeral
knew.
though, unless they just gloss over that
That's
and
true. They might
do a time lapse, which I hope they don't do. I think they need to give the audience is going to attach to Nick. I mean, we understand that she wanted to leave the show.
Oh yeah.
No one harbors bad feelings towards her, but
Oh,
I think you still need
absolutely.
to give the audience closure on that character. So I think
Oh,
that he'll come back for
absolutely.
that. So what a bummer that Corbin Burnson, he just gets like pain after pain after pain on the show.
I know. I was
Yep.
thinking that. I said now his character is gonna have to go through that. After seeing his well, what he is ready though for acting that out. Remember, he did say that they edited
Yeah.
most of what he had reacted to when she was in the hospital, so
Yeah.
he'll know how to act that for
Yeah.
the scene of the funeral, and maybe they won't have to edit as much this time because it'll be an appropriate amount. But
Yeah.
I'm almost hoping that it was a tease. Like, obviously Emily Van Camp is not in the show, and like you said, I totally, like, I think that's her choice. I'm assuming it's to stay home with her baby. You go, like, absolutely, more power to her. I think that's such an honorable, admirable decision to make, and it's a decision that each, it can be, that decision can be different for each mom. But if that's the decision she made for herself, then I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I support her 100%. But I lost my train of thought.
Well, going back a little bit to Devin and Tasso, Irving, I'm not going to stop calling him Tasso because she's going to be Tasso the whole time. But when he said that, Devin, you could tell Devin thought about it for like a minute, not less than a minute even. He thought, I'm going to go see. But then he made the smart ploy of not just going to go look for his patient, but to tell someone, hey, I'm going here to go do this.
Yeah.
So, if I don't return, come and find me, please.
Yeah.
And he did. Devin, I've had issues with his character over the last few seasons. Well, over all 5 seasons. He's gotten better and better and better, but it could never be denied the kind of care he gives his patients. He's a good doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's a really good, like I would prefer Conrad to be my doctor, not just because he's pretty, but because Conrad,
Well, Devin's pretty too, so that doesn't even
exactly.
You can't even compare those. Yeah.
But where I would like them both, because where Conrad is like, he will figure anything out that you have. Devin will not leave you until he knows that you are comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
Whereas Conrad will step away if he feels, you know what, I've got to go do this. So you're just going to suck it up and you're going to stay there. But Devin will work side by side with you. And I think that they both are really, I think this episode or this season, because I think I was even saying in the live tweet that this is Devin's season to shine a little bit more, especially if it's his last year of residency.
Yeah.
I think that's why he didn't leave the room right away, because there was a patient on the floor that needed his help and he wasn't going to leave his side. He was going to do everything he could to save him. I just think that.
Oh, I'm not surprised that he didn't leave the room at all.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. I just was thinking that, man, if it were me, I probably would have like propped the door open, so that way at least I wouldn't get but he didn't know what he was dealing with.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't, he probably did think, oh, he's not thinking of himself, he's thinking of the patient. But I would think that you'd hope that he would have thought, I got to keep myself preserved to help this patient.
Well, I think his instinct was, I'm going to do a quick assessment on him and then we'll see where to go from there. And I think that he thought, I don't know what this is, whatever.
Yeah,
but he also
thought he had more time.
Yeah. And he also saves the day with Kit and Belle too, when he because even at the end of last season, it was him who had the connection that got Rose her transplant. And again, it's his connection that helps Kit overcome the hackers. Yeah. We didn't see, we want to talk about Kit and Belle, but I feel like I didn't get enough of Belle in this episode either.
There wasn't a whole lot.
We didn't get to see Jake
at the beginning, and I don't know if you missed this part or not, but when him and Kit are talking, and she's talking about how the hospital's finally back in the black, and that he's like doing more surgeries than ever, so you get to find out that he's been back in the OR a lot. And so I thought that was nice to hear, because I missed
been training Billy.
Yeah, we didn't see his son at all either. I was disappointed at that. Yeah,
I did. I was looking for him.
Yeah, I love him. So
I was thinking of that too. I'm sure they'll probably have some, grandpa granddaughter moments in the future too. Oh yeah, there'll be episodes. There'll be a Thanksgiving episode or something.
He's still a plastic surgeon at the hospital.
Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't need any
He's still at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of a bummer too when Belle asked Kit out to dinner.
Yeah.
It's the slowest burn I've seen in every relationship ever. Can you just, you guys like each other, that you're great together. Can you just, one date? We're not asking for you to get married tomorrow. Can you just go to dinner with the man, Kit?
You would think so.
I mean, look at how far he's come.
He brought her lunch and or whatever they were having. I mean,
he's constantly
act like they're dating.
Yes. And then when he brought her coffee, she's like, smell that coffee. The instant, like, how good is your nose, Kit?
Like he already
through the door and you could smell that coffee or how strong is the coffee maybe? Is it like tar
it is coffee,
Yeah, I know. I'm a coffee aficionado and my nose is not that good.
I can smell coffee as soon as it starts dripping.
Yes, but that's open. It's in a coffee pot. This was in a sealed cup.
True.
This is a weird point that I'm making. I don't know why I'm digging my heels into it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's late.
We also didn't meet Billy's son, which I thought we were going to do this because
I
that's how the
forgot
last
about
season
that
ended.
storyline.
I did
Yeah.
too, till I was watching something else, and it was when I was making those TikToks and I was looking up stuff, and it showed the ending of her meeting her son, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that even happened.
That crewman left
Yeah.
with Emily.
Maybe. I mean, my goodness, it's weird.
I think they're I don't think they knew Nick was leaving season
At the end of
4,
season 4, yeah.
and I think they're
Tidying
trying to scramble the season 5, the beginning, and getting her out. And then I think we'll start seeing solutions to season
Yeah.
4's
Yeah.
cliffhangers, I guess.
And maybe Billy helps Conrad with his baby, but maybe it's Conrad who's going to get through to her about her son too.
Yeah.
In the wake
Yeah.
of Nick's death.
I think maybe even helping with Gigi is going to kind of like ignite that mother aspect in her that she doesn't know is there. That's buried.
That's a good
Mhm.
point.
I think it's going to open that window for
Yeah.
her.
I hope so.
So we end. I mean, obviously, we end the episode with Devin on the floor. I almost called him Dylan because I mean,
Dylan Devin.
there was a pause there a minute ago. And I was thinking, as soon as it's over, I'm gonna go watch Teen Wolf. Came out.
Me too.
I'm shocked. I'm floored.
Although it's getting awful late. I don't know how much Teen Wolf I'm gonna get in.
But Kit at the end, I love how cool and chill her character is all the time. I love it.
Me
And
too.
so when Devin's friend, I didn't even catch her name because again, my TV was glitchy, but that girl is I think it's funny that Kit is like, oh, she's the ultimate girl boss. Yeah. What about the girl who just foiled the hackers who've been
Right.
destroying all the hospitals? What about her?
Yeah.
She's a pretty freaking fantastic human being that she was
Pretty
able to do
impressive.
it. And I like when she closed her laptop, she just kind of stood there like, and she even like gave a little nod to Kit, like, I did this for you.
Yeah.
But Kit's like, I forget how she said it, but it was so badass when she said it. I don't remember what it was.
Which part?
Kit, when the hackers were revealed.
She said something about which one of you are Russian.
Because we traced you to Philadelphia or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tiffany, you have it on. Are you near the end with captions?
Just finished it.
Rewind it.
She's like, and 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's done.
Do you remember what she said?
No. I was watching you all, not
What-
that. It was just
what good
kind
are
of
you,
going in
Tiffany?
the background.
Come
Who
on.
needs to watch Jane Lynch when I've got Marine and Jeanette, Bethany, and Amanda to look at?
Yeah.
We're prettier. It's all right. We can acknowledge that. I'm sorry, Jan leaves. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I did not mean it at all. Please come on our show.
Oh. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure that's what she said. Which one of you is from Russia? Because we traced you back.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I didn't mean it. Please be on our show. That does not sound familiar.
What?
That is something she said, but she said something more to him.
Well, she said something about the FBI. She said,
Oh
no
yeah,
need
she said
to, no need to something because the FBI is already on their way, or no need to. I don't remember something about not
something
to
like,
panic.
don't
No need
try
to
to
pack
leave.
up.
Oh, pack
Yeah,
up.
maybe that's what it was.
No need to pack up. The FBI is already on the way, I believe is what it was.
Yeah.
I think that's what she said. FBI is on the way. And of course they were, because their first reaction was, let's get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
let's just evacuate. And she's
Like
like,
that
nope.
they were sitting so cocky in front of the TV.
And suddenly they're like,
Then when she said, hello, boys, and then the one guy's like, oh, and like smacks his what good is that gonna do you, man?
I know. That's why I feel like I don't know what the objective of that was. Was it just for this first episode, or like maybe there is something? Was it just a stepping stone to the rest of the season, or is something going to eventually tie back? Like they're going to do some sort of shock and awe, or something that's going to happen that you don't think is connected, and then you find out it's somehow connected to that first storyline of the hackers. I don't know. It's just, thinking like something dramatic, and you're like, wow, that's why that happened. That's why there was this, I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's why I
It
think that
resolved
storyline
too
isn't
fast for me.
completely done, because they made a point of saying it's been happening in hospitals all over the area. They made a
Mhm.
point of having that leak in that room with the powder that looks like it was intentionally put there. Shut up, Hulu. You're not going to play it? Come on. Suddenly my Hulu isn't working. Anyway,
Aw.
but they were very intentional about building up this hacker thing. So that's why I think it's not permanent. But she foils them. I like too that one that it was like that Devin's friend. I wish I knew her name, but she looked very smug about it. And then Jan leaves, is just Kit's boss is just staring at the screen like, and she stares at them for a beat before she says anything. Like it's like she's taking a mental note of what each and every one of them looks like before she says anything, before she draws attention to it. And she's so comically, she's not vindictive, which I feel like I would have been like reaming into them, but she's just very calm, very cool, very chill.
But that's her.
Yeah.
Which one of you are Russian? Your IP address is pinging in Baltimore. I wouldn't bother fleeing. The FBI are on their way.
That's what it was.
We were close.
She's so cool. And so the other favorite scene I have, there's only two other things we got to talk about, and they're just scenes that we don't even need to discuss, but it was when first of all, I don't know if that guy was the CEO or if he was the new owner, the governor, something, I don't know, but he looked at Kit and for some reason Belle and said, if you guys don't figure out a problem with this, you're fired.
It was Marshall.
Oh, it was Marshall?
It was Kit and Marshall, he told. I thought it was Belle the first time too, because it kept messing up, but when I watched it again, it's Marshall.
Okay. That makes sense because Marshall's the head of the board. That's what I was like. I don't know.
Why would you fire Bill?
And no one tells Marshall something like that without Marshall being like, I'm gonna show you. So I like that. Conrad gets all his fight from his dad, all of it.
Mhm.
And the last thing is when Conrad is looking for Gigi and he finds Marshall holding her. Like
Oh,
Marshall being a
yeah.
grandpa is like one of my favorite things in the world.
I think that
So
that's going to
cute.
be another really good part to the storyline, because I mean it's going to definitely build up
Yeah.
Conrad and Marshall's relationship even more, because
Gonna repair it fully.
because I mean he's obviously going to be helping out. I think Billy will too, because other than that there's not really anyone that, and he's going to need all the help he can get. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Well,
Yeah.
in
I mean-
that end scene, it's Devin and Marshall, and is it Kit or is there someone
Mhm.
else in there?
no, it's Kit, Devin, and Marshall in her
it's Kit.
office.
Was it Devin? I thought
Devin was
was
absolutely
Devin.
there.
Belle
Yeah.
was there too.
Yeah,
though.
Devin.
Was Belle there?
also there?
I didn't think he was
I
there,
think
because then Kit sees him later when they're getting ready to leave.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's
so
just,
they meet up
I know
later.
it's Devin for sure, because I didn't miss that face.
Yeah, we got eyes on Devin all the time. Yeah,
I think that's
Oh.
indicative of who's going to become Conrad's core.
maybe.
I
Because
think
Kit
too.
has a way of speaking to Conrad to get him
Yeah.
out of his stupor. And she is also a grandmother and a mother, and Conrad really, really, really respects her and what she has to say. So I think those three, I think Billy's going to be in there too, but I think she's going to be there because she's important to Nick.
That's
But
what
I
it's
think
gonna be.
those three are going to be Conrad's core.
Yeah.
His full support system that he's going to need.
I think so. I think that's why they were there.
So the preview for next week, they don't find Devin until next week. Just kind of a bummer. So I don't know if like it's an immediate thing, like if maybe that nurse finds him, or if Devin's just hanging out down there with the blind guy passed out for like hours. I don't know. But we know that Conrad's throwing a fit.
It almost sounds like it was the next morning, because that's when she comes in and she's like, because remember they made arrangements. Okay, we'll meet for coffee in the morning. And
yeah.
and
did
she's
see-
like, has anybody seen him? So it makes it seem like,
Mhm.
okay, he missed coffee, so now I'm at work. He's not here at work.
Oh,
So
that's
has
a
anybody-
long time to be breathing in those chemicals.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
he somehow makes it out because they find him in the elevator.
Yeah, that's right.
So he obviously
That's
stumbles
right.
out. He stumbles, and I think that's when he finally falls and hits
Yeah.
his head is in the elevator.
Because the last thing we see of him in the episode, I don't remember if he's in surgery, but I know he's certainly in a bed with the oxygen mask on out.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
Conrad looks really stressed out about something, and he looks like he's at the hospital. So I don't think it's about Nick. I think it's about Devin.
That's when he's throwing the computer and the chair against the wall.
Yeah, and so
for
I
sure.
don't think it's about Nick yet, because he probably doesn't find that out till like maybe that evening when he goes home or
That's
whenever. we
because
find
it's
out.
dark out when the police come and he's wearing a gray sweatshirt. The
Yeah.
same when he's throwing the computers and he's wearing that same shirt.
Yeah,
No,
so I
I'm-
think I don't know. I took it that he might be upset about something's up with Devin. Like,
He has to be because they're like best friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Uh,
feel like, why was I not there? How did I not help him? How did I not
And I think
As
he's going to
this
be
happened.
pissed that he missed something. And I think part of it has to do with that room. He missed that room. How could he miss that situation kind of thing?
Yeah.
So that's it. Does anybody have anything that they think we missed or you want to touch on at all in the episode? How about you, Tiffany?
I'm probably as soon as we log off and be like, oh shoot, we should have. No, I was kidding.
So, listeners, that was our recap of episode 1 of season 5. We tried to hit all the big points, and that's what our podcasts are going to be. A lot more of conversation, a lot more of just big points. We're not going to go play by play, scene by scene. That's what the writers are for. Quite honestly, that's why you watch the show, is so you can see it firsthand. So we're just going to go over big points from now on and things we want to discuss. So if you think we left anything out, or if you disagree with anything we said, let us know what you think that room is about, the little gas chambered room. Because it was gas. So let us know what you think that is. If you think any of us are onto something, or if you have some mind-blowing, I guess it doesn't have to be mind-blowing, but some other idea that you have on what that is, we'd like to hear it. You can reach out to us at familyfanclub2021@gmail.com. You can join and find our group on Facebook. It's the Resident Chastain Family Fan Club. We also have a podcast page on Facebook that is Fandom Family Chats. And on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, we are FB Family Fan Club. So search for us there, find us there. You can communicate with us in all those ways. We would really love to hear your feedback. And remember, the more you subscribe, the more you share these podcasts, the more downloads we get for this podcast, the better content we can give you. And we have a very, very, very special interview. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it has to do with someone on this show that you can listen to next Monday. So stay tuned for that. We have our Grey's Anatomy episode coming out on Wednesday. And for the next few months, it's just gonna be Resident and Grey's Anatomy because there's no other new shows that we do coming out. So those two and some very special interviews. Stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in a week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.